Hello rugby mates and welcome to a round 3 review of the Six Nations. We were at Twickenham Greens and we are going to get straight into it.
You had some good seats, didn't you?
I had some amazing seats, Greens. They were genuinely the best.
If you did a selfie, who was like Bauthers?
Bauthers was literally...
The non-travelling reserves?
I was right in front of the non-travelling reserves. There's a little story about them actually. Right. And I got a nudge from Bauthers at half-time going down
Did
the...
you?
Yeah.
What, smacking the back of the head?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I think
accidental.
I think he heard me booing after the 56 box kick.
Right.
Listen, we're going to get straight into Stevie B actually because... his words in the build-up to the game, I want to read to you. I want to keep building our attacking game. I want to keep building our mentality to play with speed and to be aggressive and brave with the ball. As a fan sitting in the stands, it didn't feel like we lived up to that chat. And I'm not the only person that is feeling a little bit hard done by when you sort of compare those words to what we actually saw.
Yeah, feel like hollow words. There was a stat on the telly before the game, from the France game, where Finn Smith was man of the match, and he made 15 passes and 11 kicks. So almost a sort of 50-50 ratio to what they're doing. And the reality is, for me, it all came to a head in the first 240, 300 seconds. First Scottish box kick, we recover, great take. We get Marcus Smith the first receiver, we move Finn Smith to second, it's great, we go out the back twice, we have a 4-on-3 and Henry Sled kicks it.
Yeah.
We did it all autumn as well. We then get our first line out. Great arrows from Luke Cowan-Dickey, hits Luke Chester. I'm going straight into the minutiae. I'm trying to build a picture of the mindset, because this isn't about personnel on the field. This has to be about living up to the words that Steve is speaking about before the game, building our attacking game, and then seeing it happen. We're at home. It's 82,000 people. We great line out, Chesham, bang, box kick, straight away. I mean, our first option, which tells everything, Scotland, everything they need to know about how England are going to play the rest of the afternoon. There's no do something different. There's a great phrase that we often use, and I like to talk about, is freedom within a framework. Coaches give. So let me use Brian Ashton for an example. Magnificent backs coach. We were given the autonomy and the space and the ability to move ourselves if 10 wanted to stand in 12 and 12 wanted to stand at 15 according to where skill sets were. And you then got from one idea 5 different options, and according to how the defence set themselves up, freedom within a framework. This team at the moment feels like all framework and no freedom. That's a dangerous place to be as a rugby team. So the personnel can't argue. You might say Van Portfleet, good A-team, might come onto the bench. You could start to wonder whether Hassel Collins, who had one game for Borthwick, ran it back when he wasn't supposed to, immediately dropped, just as an idea. Played well, comes back on the wing. You could move Freeman to 13. We need some more pace. But I don't want today to be about necessarily selection.
No.
I want it to be about the team removing shackles, letting rip. Marcus Smith, right, you're in a Quinn shirt. What do you do? Finn Smith, you're in a Northampton shirt. What do you do? Ollie Lawrence, you're in a Bath shirt. What do you do? I'm telling you. Or you're 15 years old again. You're learning how to play rugby. You're with the under-15s coach at Old Haberdashers. What do you do as a 15-year-old kid here? Bang. You straighten up, you draw, you make a 5-on-3, a 4-on-2. Next bloke does the same, and you got half a chance of going 80 metres and scoring on your post. The crowd go, well, no, what do? Boot it, because of territory. And it's that straitjacket that I feel the team are in. And the problem is now, no matter what the coaches say, in the desperation to get results, it feels like they've completely regressed and said win is everything, which is, by the way, what all of us have been saying. But fast forward to Italy now, sort of get to my point. I watched Italy-France on Sunday with my 2 lads, and they scored 11 tries. And I said to my lads, okay, so I might go on a podcast tomorrow with Campo, or I'll be on TalkSport tomorrow or whatever. You tell me the number of tries England should score against Italy at home when they've just conceded 11. That doesn't make me sound like a pompous, old, arrogant English prick who played rugby 25 years ago and thinks it's all easy and they should still be doing. And my eldest lad, who's slightly conservative, said 6. And my youngest lad, who was a bit more like Austin Healey, went 8. And I remember, and again, I know this isn't about old stories, we hold the most points in a game. I think it's 81 against Italy. And Clive Woodward, the week of that game, said, right, lads, set your target. How many tries are you going to score? You know, you wouldn't say that publicly. You can't say that publicly. The Italians would pin it to the wall and the press would be all over you. You'd have a pop.
Behind closed doors.
And 3 or 4 lads, more conservative, Jono and that, 4, 5, we'll get 4. Oz, at the back, like Donkey from Shrek. Clive! How many, Austin? 11. Right? Everyone laughed. I said, you can't say that. I think we scored 12. Yeah. And I says, why not? So my view, and people will say, well, hold on, England have only scored 10 tries this championship. I think it's 10. People say, how on earth can you say they're going to score 7 or 8 in one? Because France have just given us a quick ruck, Dupont, in and away, fly, out the back, straight in up, hit a shoulder, all the bang, bang, bang. Trust your ball skills. Heavy lads, Gouillard, carry. In which case, for us, it would be Chesham. Just carry in and around the fringe. Just get around, bang, offload, play. Overriding opinion on all this is it's time for enough talking from England about we're expanding our game. We've got Italy on a Sunday. And by the way, I know everyone thinks I'm potty. Try and get to 20 points. And the only way you can get to 20 points in this championship is by 2 bonus point wins. Get bonus point by half-time against Italy. First restart, bang, visit, out the back, play. Do you know if they get the defence right? Have a sniff, have a play. You've got the best players in England at your disposal. Our breakdown is fabulous. If we get under pressure and we get choke tackled, no one's getting a scrum pen against us. If they do get a pen from a breakdown issue and they kick to the corner, who's driving more tries against us?
Yeah.
You know, so Joel Abd, you might work's cut out this week because we're going Kevin Keegan. We're scoring 10, and with it, a couple of things happen. One, the lads will realise, geez, it's a great game to play, and how much fun is it in an England shirt as opposed to weighed down and coming off and feeling slightly sombre about it. And 2, you're never going to win everyone back in one game, especially if it's Italy. But you, the bloke who walked past me in the press box and said that was rubbish, make sure you write that in your article. Ed Rustling, our old friend. This is class. This is England man. He's been in better shape, but he is a sports nut, right? And he knows his onions. I care deeply about England rugby, but in my gut it is clear I need more than a win. Sport is more than winning and losing. Sport should feed the heart and the soul. He'd had a few beers. Sport must at least try to entertain. Sport should make you happy and sad and scared and exhilarated. I felt low. I felt bored. I felt hollow. I felt it in the crowd. I don't want to give up as an England fan, but this is as close as I have ever felt. And this guy is your man who dresses up in the St George's chainmail, paints his face, would spend his last shilling to watch England play, to watch an England snail compete in the World Snail Racing Championship. Yes. He would be cheering them on and telling us the super strengths of our snail and why we might beat the French snail in the final. And he's sending me something like that. And
I think he's really caught the public sort of mood there. I think those words really catch it. From my perspective, sitting in the stands and listening to everyone around me. I mean, it's not very often that you're at Twickenham and there are boos during the ball in play, you know. But as I say, the 15th box kick that went up, there were boos, and I'm sitting right in front of Borthwick and co, and it's audible, and you feel these are the most epic conditions that you could ever have at Twickenham.
Yeah.
I mean, it was glorious. It's a dry ball. You know, it's everything to play for, and the lack of ambition that it was literally sucked your soul away.
And I know I don't write the headline in the Telegraph piece, but you were in the car, we were reading it through. We did our piece immediately for socials, and the headline was we don't play any rugby. And believe it or not, I feel sick writing stuff like that because I've been there and it's horrible. You know, I was chased out of town. Everyone says, "Oh, you were great." It's like last 5 or 6 games of England, there were a lot of people after my head. I'd lost my pace, I'd lost my sparkle. It was like, geez, I got to, you know when players are struggling because they are trying, or they're doing what they're told and trying their best. And you're right there, and that headline goes out. I'm human. Sunday afternoon, I'll just check the comments. I shouldn't be worried that my eyes were deceiving me, but often you'll get 40% when we win say, shut up, it's all about winning. I think there was 1 in 20 comment was, what are you whinging about?
Yeah,
we won.
yeah.
It is, and that's the worry, because when that sets in as a management team, that's a mud sticks, first impressions or impressions are very difficult to remove, and that's the problem now. However, they've got the perfect game for those young men on the field to deliver a performance that wins us all back. Whatever happens between Ireland and France, if we get 5 points, England go into the final round
with a shot,
with a chance.
Yeah.
So that's my hope. And the other massive disappointment for me is this shirt. What an opportunity missed for some of those backs.
Yeah.
On Lions weekend, which was the home nations playing against each other, I don't know which Scottish back I don't take.
No, I thought they were magnificent.
Magnificent, which we haven't, which we will. I hope we'll talk
touch on
about.
that. But just before we get to Scotland, though, there's one thing that I suppose I want to touch on, which is, I think the biggest issue I had with England this weekend was I felt hopeful because of the games that I've seen them play, because of the potential that I've seen. I mean, you take France in Marseille, and the way we played, the way we threw the ball around, you sort of feel we know what this team is capable of, right?
Yeah.
And to take what I would consider to be some quite major steps backwards in terms of our mentality. Our stats were 2.7 passes to a kick. How can that be? And who is taking responsibility for that? It feels like the only person that can take responsibility for that is Steve Borthwick and the coaches, because I cannot see how the players are thinking to themselves, that's the way that we should play rugby.
And has the fear. You can't win big if you've got a fear of losing. That's the quote I was trying to find from here. What is it? Is it terrified of walking off Twickenham, beaten as an England player, or is it terrified of going off script?
I'm going to bring up one other point on this, and producer Ollie came up with these stats around Steve Borthwick actually and his history around coaching, and his Leicester days, which I thought was really interesting as well, because his point was that, look, the fact is what were we expecting with Steve Borthwick? Here is his track record. He was the Premiership winning coach for Leicester. And when they won the title, they were 6th out of 13 sides for tries scored. In the semi-final and final, they scored a total of 4 tries. 14 of the games during that season ended within 1 score. There's a little bit of repetition here, and I suppose the point is, what did we expect? This is the man that we have appointed as a head coach. He is a statistician. It feels like England are currently in a straitjacket, and the question I think I've got as an England fan is how long do you
so
give that?
He settled the team in chaos, took advantage of the draw in the World Cup semi-final, got within 3 minutes of making a final, which in the rain there's every chance it could have beaten New Zealand.
Phenomenal.
Went back, regressed, started to build again, felt in 2024, the famous political phrase, green shoots of recovery, started to play, And it just feels when, with 7 consecutive Tier 1 losses, the weight got too much and they've just gone...
Reverted back to type.
We have to win.
Yeah.
We've got to win. And then if we win, we can build... We can't risk... And the argument might be, you lose both of those games, and the argument might be, is he still there? We demanded victory. There's an element of this being Maximus, and he stands and throws the sword in the crowd and says, "Are you not entertained?" Well, we're not entertained, but you've won.
No, we're not entertained at all.
Yeah, are you not happy we've won? And
by the way, I'm so cross that I'm here. We've won the Calcutta Cup after 5 years. I'm a passionate Englishman.
Longer than 5. We haven't won it. Is it? When was the last time we won it?
Well, they were going for the 5th,
right.
weren't they?
But
I'm so cross that we are not talking about an epic England performance where we've deserved to pick up that cup, because it just didn't, didn't feel like that, right?
Are we going to do 3 or 4, just a couple of minutes on the England positives, and then we're going to talk about Scotland?
Yeah, 100%. Let's do a couple of England positives.
Breakdown.
It can't all be.
Awesome. Curry off the bench, Curry on the field. Ben Earl had one of his best games.
He was immense, I thought.
For England.
Thought he was man of the match.
Tom Willis, classic number 8. Shame about his HA on the 36th minute, but from the base, strong. Line-outs, excellent.
Chesham was good, wasn't
Chesham was good. Do you know what? I watched it again. Itoje was even better.
Yeah.
Some massive turnovers over the top of the ruck. Pick one. Ferguson charging 5 yards from her own line. Rip, take off. Genge and Stewart, put a dent. Xander Ferguson, I had going as a Lion, but the scrum pressure, which Andy Farrell might say actually it's about the 8, and if I put McCarthy behind Xander Ferguson, then I'm not bothered. But Will Stewart and Ellis Genge, big scrummaging performance. Finn Smith kicked penalties. Elliot Daly had a nice cameo.
Yeah.
After that, I'm struggling.
I didn't get the ball, mate.
So, positives. Breakdown, set piece, won a tight one. No matter what you could say, won a tight one, which we've been saying, we want you to win a tight one. Feel together still, no matter what's happening. The vibe from the camp might be a backs against the wall. Everyone hates us, who cares? Do you know what? If they use that in a positive vein.
Yeah, good on them.
Then great. Yeah, we don't need to talk about the negatives anymore, the minutiae. It's so much more than a particular call or a particular selection. The next couple of games is so much more about mindset and England's willingness and want to play. Scotland were just a joy to watch.
Weren't they brilliant?
Richie's as good, the 6 is as good as anyone at going to the line and either then dipping head, carrying hard, or just leaving it in the space that he vacates, and Russell just strolls round. Ignore the goal kicking, and to a degree the kicking at hand. He's a proper gunslinger. Will any football fans be watching this? Paul Scholes in his pomp, Pirlo, Busquets, Modric, Toni Kroos.
Yeah.
Bang, see it, hit it,
Yeah.
get it, give it, short, nod it off, back, just quality. Jones runs angles and he's going on this tour. I love Tom. Tom Jordan's suddenly in the conversation at 12. Kyle Rowe couldn't be like pinning jelly to a wall. Duan van der Merwe gets man of the match again. The Russell-Kinghorn combination, I just love, because if Finn gets himself in trouble, I'll just throw it to my 6'5" speedster who's got dancing feet. He lost a couple of balls, but he can properly play, and he's been loving life down in Toulouse. Dempsey at 8 was great. Their whole team, yes, giving up the trophy, but on the back of the Ireland game, coming to Twickenham and looking at the performance without necessarily the W, the D or the L, the win, draw or loss, looking at the performance, they can go, wow, we put ourselves in some unbelievable positions, and first phase tries, invention. They were fabulous to watch.
Weren't they? And if you're a Scottish fan watching or listening to this, I feel for you, because, you deserved it. You really, really did deserve that game. But there is a little bit of history repeating themselves with Scotland, because, of course, there were numerous points within the game where they should have taken more.
Yeah.
I think they had 22 entries into the 22, so that says it all. But, that last line out, they're 7 metres out, and the basics break down, and under that severe spotlight, under that severe pressure, it feels like Scotland do and have cracked consistently in those moments over the course of, it feels like 3, 4, 5 years now. We've been saying that this is a great.
It depends
great
what
team.
It depends what. Yeah, I suppose it depends what your lens is. You think about playing numbers, professional teams. I know certainly professional teams they match Italy.
Yeah, and I know
and it turns out
they're punching above their weight. We know that. I'm almost giving.
They're
them
marking themselves because of the 80s and the 90s. Finlay Calder, Grand Slams. David Soul walks out, used to semi-finals, World Cup. Gavin Hastings misses a sitter, which lets England back into it. Because of where they've been, you always, I think, look, I don't want to put myself in Scottish shoes. My view from the outside is how proud I would be as a Scottish person with the resources to be able to.
Totally. Do you know what I want to say?
Yeah.
My God, I would love Gregor Townsend as the England coach. Honestly, and I know that that's maybe being a little bit outspoken, and maybe we're not giving Borthwick the credit, but I just think that his philosophy, aligned with the resources and the talent that we have in our country, I think it would be a match made in heaven. But
I'll plead the fifth.
Plead the fifth.
Plead the Fifth Amendment. In America, that means no comment.
I know you love Gregor. So, Greens, that's England, Scotland done. We shall move on to France versus Italy. Wow, they were magnificent,
my lads,
weren't they?
The 1 week they don't pick Dupont in the Fantasy League. I'm like, oh dear, he's just got 1.5 million points, and you should have captained him, and you'd have won the whole league. Yeah. The context is Pernod's at home playing for Bordeaux.
Yeah.
Miafu, he's not in the 23. Jalibert may have been ill, but not in the squad. Made some massive calls, Fabien Galtier, some massive calls, and every single one of the players who he picked to come in. Atis Sogbe, outstanding. Barre could have had a hat-trick, forward pass. The second row, Gouillard scored the first or second try.
First try.
Such power. Look, Italy will be gutted on the back of a good win against Wales, but they got the bounce back performance.
Yeah, can I just pause you on that Galtier thing and the selection, right? Because what is that? Is that a shot across the bows to the players? Is he saying, look, don't get comfy? Because Penaud would be arguably
37 French tries. Yeah. Everyone picks it. By the way, if he'd been playing, everyone would have picked him in their fantasy team.
Right, there we go. So what? I mean, we don't know, but what's your guess around the psychology there? Is it a shot across the bows? Don't get comfy.
Yeah, and your performance against England wasn't good enough.
Yeah,
he'll have seen training. He'll have watched the game. He'll have perhaps seen the post-match reaction, and have decided, as a head coach, they can't. Your word is probably the right one. Can't be too comfy. Yeah. Can't assume with 37 tries you're always going to get picked. I need to maintain the hunger, because if you want to win a World Cup, you've got to have 30, 35 players. This stage, sort of 2 years out, you really need to have your eye on about 40, 45, 3 in each position. Where are they? Everywhere you look is sheer class. And look, they'll understand that under the French papers went after Fabien after the England defeat, and they needed a big performance afterwards. Italy had moments. Brex and Menoncello both get on the score sheet. They're still pretty lively behind. Their pack ran around and had effort. They ended up on a sunny day against a team that needed a massive statement performance. And their power, their precision, their accuracy. The first half, there's an element, oh my God, brilliant. I wrote down brilliant, but just inconsistent, because in a game that they were completely dominating, it was suddenly 21-17. Tommaso Allen had kicked, Menoncello had scored one, Brex had scored one, and they were within 4. And you think, how does this happen? And then they just went, right, this is... Galtier's pulling his hair out because this week Ramos can't miss. He's kicking him from touchlines. He's kicking from outside the stadium.
One of the interesting comments I thought was from... I don't know whether it was from Galtier, but he basically said that if France had actually caught or taken the chances against England, it would have been similar. Yeah. And it was difficult to argue against that sort of idea when you watch them play like that.
And what I love about them the early ball. When I say to you early ball, you're a sporting. Yeah. What does early ball mean?
Give the responsibility to someone outside you, back them to make a good decision, and then back it up, which is a great shout.
Absolutely spot on. Whether you're playing netball, whether you're playing hockey, any team ball sport, early ball, give and move. Yeah. Give and move. Football, playing out from the back, play your little triangles. Don't go to the line, confront traffic when you don't need to, and suddenly the 5-on-3 is gone because you've got attack inside shoulders. They had 14 offloads, and we haven't got Statman Dave.
How many did England have, by the way?
Oh, do you know the answer? I was going to say 3. Is that the whole tournament, or is that just Saturday?
Not the whole tournament. That was Saturday.
We don't offload.
3 offloads.
No, but we don't offload.
Yeah.
But that. You look at all the best teams in the world. If you want to knock off big teams on a consistent basis, you have to offload. So we have to start offloading. They were great, and with 11 points now, right back in it, in a one-on-one game in Dublin, they'll feel that if they can reproduce that performance, and it's absolute, because they can physically match, France will go, you just can't get that front football against us, or you can't get it all the time. So playing your launch plays off line-outs, or playing three-phase plays when someone gets dented and stopped by Kroos and gets knocked backwards, you can't run those plays. So
it's going to be epic.
It's game of the championship.
Quick one for you off the back of that selection with Italy and the players that he's picked, because I think the big thing is the selection for France versus Ireland in Dublin. Because the options feel quite limitless in terms of what he could do.
Can come back.
Yeah, he can come back. But what I'm asking you is, what do you think he'll do? Or what would you do, and what do you think he'll do?
So, on the back of dropping big players and seeing young lads, Barry's only 22, Atisogbe, Bilbir is still young, bringing Flamon back into the second row, dropping Miafu. My view is if you drop players and then young players respond to that sort of responsibility, everyone has a soft spot for Ontomac. So you could go Ontomac, Ramos at the back. But my view would be, Emile, you kind of got sent off. My view is he gets a bench spot. I mean, what a statement to be able to force Ontomac, Jalibert, Panot to watch from the sidelines or even from home and go, geez, I got to up my game.
Yeah. Can you give me that brilliant story, which that little moment there reminded me of the World Cup, and the line that you gave or Jono gave around the changing of...
Oh, yeah. So Jono remembered it. It's very kind of him to remember it. It was actually 2002.
Yeah.
The year before the World Cup, and we'd gone... At that stage, we were 3 years unbeaten at home, but we're just tired. In training, we're doing the same thing, and I know that often doing the same things over and over again is a positive thing for a professional athlete, but actually you feel like sides are starting to read us. I felt we needed to change training up, and the coach's lines were, no, but it's winning. We're winning. Why would you change it? And my line was, do we have to lose to change? It's easy to change once you've gone over the top and you're on the way down. Shit, we better change. Change early. Move early. Stay ahead. And actually Eddie Jones says his great regret from the 2019 World Cup is he picked back-to-back teams for the semi-final and final. He felt he should have changed it.
Yeah.
In the midfield, we changed our team for the quarter-final, the semi-final and the final. But, changed 3 different backlines in a knockout stages of the World Cup.
Yeah. Okay, so that's Italy-France. And now we're going to get to, I think, almost the game of the weekend for me at the Principality between Ireland and Wales. And in the podcast previous to this, we were talking about the fact that at one point with the bookmakers, Ireland had gone to 50-1 to win that.
50-1
to win that game.
Because you didn't put that on the socials. You put Ireland at 50-1. Everyone will have a bit of that because you're not a gambler. You forgot to put 50-1 on. Went, where can you get 50-1 on Ireland? In the end, it was almost a terrible bet.
Yeah, well, yeah, but what a difference a change can make, and a combination of things: the selection, fresh face, fresh talk, fresh mentality.
Yeah.
But
at home.
And at home.
You know, not going into bat for Warren here, but it was like your hymns and arias are belting out.
Yeah.
They're seeing a younger team. They're seeing a team they wanted to see earlier on. Ellis Mead debut on the left wing. Llewellyn comes back with Anscombe, and you've got Thomas Williams. You've got 3 Gloucester lads. You've got the Cardiff connection with Thomas Williams. I know he's at Gloucester now, but Falatau, who's absolutely class. They bring Reffel in, an absolute Jacqueline. Shift Jack Morgan, who's one of the players of the tournament, to 6. Rowlands has a big game. Jenkins doesn't pull out 10 minutes before, which he did from the Italy game, which was a hammer blow for them. Up front, Nicky Smith comes back. I love Elliot D as a hooker. He might make my team of the week, actually, Elliot D. And at the back, Blair Murray, kicked badly to him, and he'll tear you apart.
Yeah, he's exciting, isn't he?
So they were great. I mean, they were really great, and scored 18 unanswered points. At one stage, 10-0 up Ireland, you thought, here we go. What we feared. No bounce, no new coach bounce, and it's a false dawn. 18 unanswered points, and at that time, a couple of things sort of happened. Irish props weren't as strong as they have been. Got pinged in the scrum. Will Griff-John did well on the fantasy stuff. A tight head that was cost about 2 stars to buy performed outstandingly well. The second rows weren't getting as many carries. The midfield was quieter. They got the red card. The back 3 had less threat from Ireland. They were making mistakes that you wouldn't associate with them. But then they had a long, deep breath. And their core players, Byrne, Van der Fleer, Sheehan, Henshaw, quietly, was absolutely class. Say what you want about it. It's not Bundyaki's fault that the red card's only 20 minutes. He comes on and snots people. Van der Fleer was sensational. Jameson Gibson Park...
Player of the tournament.
Is he as good as Dupont? I mean,
he's the player of the tournament in the minute
tough
for me.
Tough to argue with.
Yeah.
And pulling the strings, Prendergast. Right? Prendergast. And what he's got at the moment, so he's got the passing game. I think he was 5 from 7. So decent stats. He missed a long range one, but 5 from 7, decent stats. But what I absolutely love about him as well is his kicking out of hand. He did one spiral 50-22, and then he did one against England, not a 50-22, where a line-out ball bit loose, Jags back, looks over, dinks it. He did a similar. He has the ability to get the ball on his foot. I know it sounds like, isn't that obvious? But get the ball up and down. If you go too high, fullback's got time to cover. You go too low, you get charged down. The ability to just get it over the wall. So the guy who's charging down thinks, oh, I nearly had it. But then it bounces and the fullback says, oh, I nearly caught it. Neither of you did either of them, because I have just got that touch. One of the sort of subplots to this jersey in the background, if they beat France with him at 10, I mean, he's the starting 10, isn't he? With Russell's goal-kicking issues.
Yeah, it's the kicking issues for Russell, isn't it?
But also kicking out of hand.
To use the golfing analogy, it feels like he's got a beautiful swing, but every now and again there's a duck hook in there. And you're like, well, hang on, where's that come
which
from?
Which Prendergast doesn't have.
He doesn't have that, no.
In his locker. But they took a deep breath. Peter O'Mahony, at 75 years old, played 80 minutes and just does the bits and pieces. Van der Fleer counter-ruck to win the pen, to win the game. When it was 18-24 and they needed another 3 to get 2 scores clear. Wales looked way more comfortable on the ball, but way more comfortable playing with it in an expansive capacity, letting the ball do the work. Their pack fronted up and had a real go. Anscombe kicked well, had real authority. He's an old school 10. Just stand and pass. Or stand and kick, but just stand. Don't just let everyone else, let the chaos happen around you.
Quick one on that selection, because, I mean, I, as a sort of passionate student of the game, was pretty dumbfounded when he wasn't in the squad originally, and I felt like it was one of Gatland's big errors. And the first thing that Sherratt does is like, look, we've got to have a proper 10 here in the combinations. And what's Gatland thinking there? Was it? Look, it was an eye on World Cup, and we've got to blood these players.
You've answered your own question.
Yeah.
He feels Gareth Anscombe has had terrible injury problems. Not his fault, but terrible injury problems.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to misquote Warren, but he goes, what's the point in picking him for 2 years and then he falls apart? I've got to. And he's thinking he's there for 2.5 years. I've got to get Ben Thomas playing and these guys playing and got to get them. People always say, in the old days, you didn't win the World Cup unless you had 600 caps, which is 15 players starting, 40 caps. Average cap per player, including bench, is 40, which now with 23 players is 920 caps. Maybe doing my quick maths. Right. Now, the reality, by the time you get to a World Cup, the World Cup winning teams are winning it with 1,100 caps, 1,200 caps. So they've seen everything. They've been down to 13 men. They've been 15 points behind and won. They've been pouring rain. They've been playing into a gale. They've played away. They've played home. They've played on a bog. They've played on a 4G pitch, whatever. They've seen, like a chess grandmaster, you've seen every possible fall of the pieces, and they've played it out. And that's what people feel like in order to win a World Cup. So he moved early, Warren, and it backfired because the kids just couldn't find a way to get into games and show their talent and feel confident.
And he was playing players out of position.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the other thing there.
Ireland, that is really easy for that one to slip.
Yeah. Composure.
You've been at the top of your game.
Yeah.
Can they go to the well again? And senior players just go, no panic. We do what we do. We wait. We're patient. And you know what? We might get beat. But I tell you what, if we throw the baby out with bathwater and start chasing it, we'll definitely get beat. If we sit and let our game bubble away.
Yeah. I've said it, but there was real composure, wasn't there?
Yeah.
In and amongst that sort of tumultuous atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, my last two words on the game were so composed.
Yeah.
And then once they got 9 points up, their defence, their mongrel, their counter-ruck.
Yeah,
they weren't going to let Wales back into it. I was just going to pick up
on that because the big difference for me when I looked at the two sides, because Wales, by the way, their stats, when you just looked at the stats, were amazing in terms of offloads, territory, possession. I mean, really incredible. I mean, they defeated, if you can, Ireland on the statistics, but Ireland's ability to make smart decisions was what separated them. And one of the things that I really noticed was the ability for players to counter-ruck at precisely the same time, almost telepathically. Now's the moment. One player, isolate, turnover. And they did that 2 or 3 times during the game at massive moments.
Yeah.
So they're like, no, you can have the ball there. And then bang. And that was, for me, felt like the big difference.
A lot of teams at 18-10 down go, we've got to put width on it. What would most amateurs call? What sort of plays would they start to call at 18-10? We've got to go around them.
Yeah.
Throw it to the wings and chase it. No. Clever teams just go, ripped a hole through the middle of their guts to get that penalty under the sticks to go 18-13, and Wales just went, Jesus.
I have to say, from a neutral perspective, it was just a real joy to watch Wales playing like that and to have that kind of that energy back. I mean, it's great for the tournament, right?
So,
like these last 2 games are going to be. I mean, England are going there, going, hang on a minute, this is not a full.
You felt Italy frustrating for Italy.
Yeah.
The reality is, you don't want dead rubbers.
No.
You don't want games where very predictable results play out in front of your eyes, because what do you learn from these sorts of games? So you feel like every time, well, you know when France and Ireland are on the field, you're going to get a great game. Scotland and England have had a couple of duff run-outs, but still at their best. England are hard to beat. Scotland do play great rugby and can bloody some noses. Now Scotland-Wales is a great game. Wales-England is a great game. Those things.
So just a quick one on Italy-England then, because
60 points to 20. You got to score eight tries, 4 tries a half, maybe 3 first half, 5 second half. Got to play. Point different. I mean, I'm not saying you don't go. Everyone goes, oh, to be careful going wide. I'm not saying go wide. Go straight through them and offload, and suddenly when they condense in around the breakdown, wham, play around the back. Forwards, get out of my front line on fast ball. Literally, sod off. Stand behind me. I do not want you. I know you're told from academy days that you can do these shapes and you can do all these out of the backs, but it's not your USP. With an overlap, USP belongs to Finn Smith, Marcus Smith, Henry Slade, Ollie Lawrence. Bang. Those 4 front line. The rest of you, I want to see you 10, 15 metres behind. when I score, pick me up and give me a high five.
Yeah. Will Greenwood for attacking coach, please. England.
No.
England, Italy. It feels like quite a big game for England, actually, because off the back of winning the Calcutta Cup and the mood at Twickenham being less than positive, friendly.
Yeah.
You know, we've just won the Calcutta Cup. It feels like nothing other than a really convincing victory, but not just a convincing victory, a victory that has ambition, energy. You know, that it feels like that's almost, they've backed themselves into that corner now, that is what we have to see. Is that a bit too much?
No, it really isn't. It's a side that England have never lost to. However much we like Italy's development, good sides put Italy away, especially at home. The only caveat you could say that they shouldn't score 8 is if it's chucking it down with rain.
Yes.
If it is a day like it was for the Calcutta Cup, 8 tries.
Okay, Greens, we are going to end with Team of the Week. Lions Team of the Week. I'm excited to hear who you've picked here.
Quite a few lads from losing teams.
Yes.
So a few Welshmen, a few Scotsmen. I've gone Genge D. Stewart. I could have had Sheehan and Will Griff-John. First time Porter hasn't been in the discussion because he's been MVP, as Lou said. So he's still MVP there, but this is round 3.
Yeah.
Second row, Itoje and Byrne. Just nudge out Chesham.
Yeah.
And Gilchrist. And to be fair, McCarthy, but Itoje and Byrne. 6, 7, 8 was tough. I mean, if I said to you, Earl Morgan or Morgan Earl Dempsey or Morgan Earl Faletau or Curry Earl Faletau or Curry Morgan Dempsey, you'd go, oh, that's a good back row. None of them are in it. Ritchie at 6, Van der Fleer at 7, Conan at 8. Again, I slightly over-index on ballers. Van der Fleer wrestled back control of the game, not on his own, but was a key component to a team whose Grand Slam was about to go down the River Taff.
Yeah, I hear that.
And he dug it out. And Conan at 8 gets it because I sort of like to try and pick players in the positions they played.
Yeah.
Faletau was excellent. Earl was excellent, but played 7. And do I pick him above Van der Fleer?
He was my man of the match. Earl was for me.
Yeah.
I thought he was magnificent.
Gibson Park at 9.
Yeah.
Could have had Thomas Williams or Ben White. Prendergast at 10. Russell if it was only distribution. Dewan at 11. Mm-hmm. Robbie Henshaw 12. Mm-hmm. Hugh Jones 13. Rogers 14. Kinghorn 15. No English backs, but 3 English forwards. A healthy mix of Irish. Up front and behind, and a bucket full of Scottish backs.
Yeah, feels about right, mate. I think not much I would disagree with there. Maybe other than Earl.
We did England A, or we've done that, haven't we?
We haven't done England A.
Just a little mention of people who stick their hand up, getting slightly sort of English lens on it. Van Poortvliet scored a cracking try. I think Van Poortvliet will end up on the bench against Italy. I don't think others will force their way in. But Pearson, Tizard, Kenningham, Hassel-Collins, Fisilau, if they ended up on an England bench, you'd go, well done for playing well in the 18, which is the whole point of the 18.
Just a very quick, and it's a one-liner on the merits of bringing back the A team stuff.
Best thing since sliced bread.
You like it?
Oh,
good.
Away from home, England tracksuit, different players, different coaches, different stadiums. Different opponents, different refs, everything, celebration of difference, take you out of your comfort zone. Hi, we haven't met before. You nearly decapitated me 3 weeks ago and I'm playing in the centre with you now. Now you've got to be my best mate and I've got to look after you.
Yeah.
And it was a joke that they got rid of it. Yeah. It was a joke that they got rid of it. Now, they might say there weren't other people to play. You could always find a game. Play Georgia, play Belgium, play Germany, play Portugal. Yeah. Play these developing teams.
Good for them.
It was a joke. One of the things that got me most angry when you look at how England A helped develop some of England's greatest players.
Great.
All went through and wore that jersey.
Okay, really interesting. I'm glad we did that. Okay, we are going to end this podcast with a competition winner. Producer Ollie has picked from a hat someone
What did they have to do?
They had to comment, they had to like, they had to subscribe.
They're winning that one,
channel.
though, aren't they? That's the one.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
We
can do another comp for this one. That's a different shirt.
Okay.
That's the one I brought in for the comp.
Fine.
And then I brought this one in.
Well, I'd prefer that. It's an awesome tracksuit top, isn't it?
It's a sort of training hoodie.
Training hoodie. Looks great.
Have you come in your pyjamas today?
No.
It's sort of some weird
Do you wear jeans in bed?
No,
what, this?
Yeah, it's like an underskin, like it just comes straight from the ski slopes, like a little merino.
Well, it is a little
vest.
sort of. It is.
Is it?
Yeah, sort of. Now you've made me feel self-conscious now.
That's never bothered you.
No, not with this haircut.
Well, what's the competition? Sorry.
Oh God! Producer Ollie is going to reveal the winner. So, come on, Producer Ollie, who is it?
Nigel Burke from Tacklebag 11 on YouTube.
Nigel Burke from Tacklebag 11.
Yep.
Is that the number 11?
Yep.
Tacklebag 11. What did he do? What did he say?
I have his comment here.
Greens is a ledge. What he said was Greens is a ledge, but get rid of that irritating little fella. Well done, Nige. Absolute winner.
Listen, thanks for tuning in, gang. So we will be back in a couple of weeks because it's another fallow week, isn't it? Wales will be gutted when they're not playing again this week.
They wanted to strap up and play it on Sunday.
Yeah,
the day after. Let's go again.
Absolutely. But yeah, we'll see you again. We'll keep going on the socials as well. Lots of comments this week, as always. So keep your eye out on the TikTok, on the Instagram, and we shall see you next time. Thanks for watching.
See you soon.